Do you know what? It doesn't matter how often I hear those intros, those titles. It always fills me with joy. It always fills me with joy. So we have a very special guest with us today. But before we introduce our special guest, let's do the usual round of hellos. Let's go to Crix. Crix has had a couple of technical challenges today, but you seem to be with us now, Crix, right? Say hi. And who have you got there with you
I
today?
got Jennifer of Vangerberg saying hi and, well, hoping that everyone will have a, well, safe Wednesday because it's so rainy. Jelena isn't very forgiving right now. So, yeah, hoping everyone is safe right now.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Jack, how are you, mate?
Here, stuck at home, doing well. It's a nice weather. I like the weather because, well, I don't have to switch on the AC, the aircon.
Jack, can I tell you? I nearly went with the baseball cap look because look, at the moment I'm suffering with exponential lockdown hair, and I'm toyed with whether or not I'm gonna
Yeah,
shave it or leave it until
yeah.
things open again.
I had to put this on because my hair is having more fun than I am.
But to be fair as well, mate, you're a lot cooler than me. When I put a baseball cap on, I just look like a fool. I was going to swear, then realised we're a family show. But yeah, I just look like a fool. Somebody who's trying too hard to look too young with ears that stick out forever. Anyway, let's introduce our very special guest. Sabona is back on the show. Sabona, how are you? Are you well, my friend?
Hey guys. Well, as usual, I'm just crashing your show.
You're not
You,
crashing. You are more than
yeah.
welcome. You're part of the Geekish Khan family, right, Jet?
Yep. Just don't wear the red sweater.
Yeah, just don't write the rest.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let's kind of crack on with today's show. So we've invited Sabona onto today's show because today is a special day in terms of the whole sci-fi world. Jack, why don't you explain what today is and why the 8th of September has such significance within kind of the sci-fi world, but more particularly the Star Trek world.
Mhm. Well, today is the Star Trek Day. This is the time that the first episode was the first episode was launched, which is in the U.S. called the pilot, and so this marked the Star Trek Day from then on, and it has moved. The franchise has moved with into movies. There's spin-offs like the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, The Voyager, Star Trek Beyond, Enterprise. I have missed a few probably, but this is the vision of Gene Roddenberry of us being united. There's a lot of milestones that happened during the pilot episode, during the times that race was very critical at that point in TV shows. So we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. And we thought famous talking about Star Trek, but it looks like we have our own famous person on because literally within 30 seconds of us going live, we had a message from Madge. Madge says, "Hey, Uncle Bonner." There you go, Uncle Bonner. How's that? How nice
Hey
is that?
man. She's a fellow vendor of mine. Well, there's a lot of us there, and apparently, I'm ratted out again.
Okay, Bonner. So let's come to you. Let's talk about your fascination about Star Trek. And please don't take this wrong way. I think you and I are probably the more experienced members of the team in terms of how long we've been watching television for, right? So,
Sure. Oh, I forgot to say, may the force be with you.
oh,
we're gonna steer a lot of comments
Oh, yeah.
downstairs. Yeah.
You want to get hits? That's the way to do it.
that's it, right? We're going to cross too many beams. We're crossing too.
Yeah.
Don't cross the beams, right? So, Bonner, tell to us about your love or fascination or obsession with Star Trek. How did that start, and what does Star Trek mean to you?
Well, actually, I think I saw a bit of the original series when I was still under 10. I thought, hey, there's something new, but somehow I just can't identify with it. I don't know if it was because of the stories that they were telling, or it was because of what they were wearing. I can't believe people wear bell-bottom pants. But in came the 80s, you got the next generation. So you got the new set of people, but now you have a more interesting story, one I can identify with, one that's more believable, and yet it carries on tradition. So I guess in a way, most people will probably think you're looking at a sci-fi show. Nothing here is believable. But wait a minute, there have been some stuff shown in Star Trek which we think is not. It's not going to be a probable thing in the future. Take a look at their communicators. That's what we have now. Flip phones. I'm waiting for the day when someone is able to make a transporter so we don't have any traffic anymore.
Beam me up.
How good would
Uh,
that be?
just to
Wait,
touch on
no,
that.
wait, don't say
Okay,
it. I'm going
alright.
to pinch that one. I'm going to pinch that one.
Okay.
So, Crix, I know you're fairly new to the Star Trek world, so my question is to you: how many times is "Beam Me Up, Scotty" said in the Star
No,
Trek?
haven't touched that one. But Jet, can you help me?
No, because I'm
Oh
about
no.
to I'm about to say something about the transporter.
So yeah, it's never said. It's never said in the series. It's a myth that "Beam Me Up, Scotty" is ever mentioned on the Star Trek show.
Yeah,
So
it's just beam me up.
it's just exactly.
Mhm.
So, Crix, you're fairly new to the Star Trek universe, right? Jet has kind of shoehorned you into you're watching it, or else we're kicking you off the show, right?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
So tell us a little bit about your journey and what's your thoughts on the Star Trek universe.
Well, I'm watching it during or after my job interviews, and I was like, really, it was helpful for me because it kind of touched your psychological side when it comes to things. Because I did watch the first pilot, which is The Cage, and I did read the Wikipedia page about it. It's really tragic because if you learn that the main star was supposed to be or to do the full series, he died. I was like, that's tragic. But yeah, it was good. And at the same time, I was reading some articles about it, how Star Trek doesn't just touch on science. Yes, science will win. I am wearing that shirt. Yeah, science will win because it's a science
Science
fiction
always.
day. Yeah, but it was well, compared to Star Wars, Star Trek really will just racks out the or shakes up your thoughts. It's psychological, and it gives you this thought that every cast is different. So I was about to finish the first season, and I think the 1960s one only had 3 seasons, and then we got the next gen, and then that's I'm kind of excited for the next gen because that's where Patrick Stewart comes in. And also, I did watch some episodes from Enterprise from Jonathan. The pilot there is Jonathan, so
Jonathan
I'm looking
Frakes.
forward. Yeah, yeah, there you are. I'm looking forward. I think Enterprise is well, the timeline is prior to the first season of Star Trek. So I'm rewatching it at the same time. It was good. It was fun. It wasn't like Star Wars. It's just too deep. It's like Marvel is to Star Wars, DC is to Star Trek. So something like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of dark. We are talking about deaths. First episode, we have someone died because of, well, some something. And the first episode with Shatner, someone died because of a woman. So that's good. So
Excellent. Nice one, Chris. It's very nice to see that you've done your homework. Unlike me, whenever Jet asks me to do something, I go, yeah, Jet, I'll do it if I can be bothered. But no, I appreciate that. And you're right. I think from a groundbreaking perspective, Star Trek did set some really nice in terms of good for the community, right? Good for humanity in terms of the message it was trying to send out. I think, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, Star Trek was the first TV show to show an interracial kiss, right?
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
between the guy who never overacts, who's just who's very subtle in his delivery, right? With
Yeah.
Captain Kirk and Uhuru, correct? Is that right? Have I got my facts
Uhura.
right?
Yeah.
Uhura.
Uhura,
Uhura.
Uhura,
Uhura.
not
Yes.
Uhuru.
Uhura.
The original script was it was supposed to be Spock who's going to kiss Uhura.
Mm.
And when William Shatner saw the script, and he said, if there's going to be an first interracial kiss that's going to happen in TV, it's going to be me. So he hijacked that scene, and there, the rest is history.
Excellent, excellent. Bonner, so you were talking about so it wasn't necessarily the original Star Trek that really captured your imagination, but kind of the follow-on episodes and the follow-on shows. Is there any reason why that? Were you were saying that it's more to do with kind of the relatability of the stories? Was there anything else that really captured your imagination? And I guess if you could be a character, not an actor, but if you could be a character from whichever Star Trek show, which Star Trek character would it be?
Most interesting would probably be Q.
Oh,
Mm.
that's a great shout. I'd not even
Mhm.
thought about Q. That's a great shout.
So
Right.
if you think about it, uh, Picard always has him on his as a thorn on his side. But how no matter how you look at it, you just don't know if this guy is just really challenging Picard for the fun of it, or
Mhm.
is he in a way helping him out, try to figure out how to deal with whatever situation is presented in front of him.
Yeah,
But
that's a
he
really
is,
good shout.
yeah, he's actually one of the most interesting characters that ever came out with the next generation.
Yeah, I agree. I'd forgotten about Q, and also the Woody Goldberg character. Right? What was her name?
Guinan.
Guinan? That's right. Yeah,
Diana, yeah.
Guinan. I love kind of the role that she played and how pivotal she was in just the whole storytelling within the Enterprise, as it were, in the next generation.
Whoopi
Jack?
Goldberg wanted to be part of Star Trek. She really requested for it. She was not cast. She kind of barged herself into the Star Trek world because when she was young, she was watching TV, and it's the first time that she saw a black woman or an
On the
African
screen.
American woman on screen on the TV screen, and
Oh,
she said
really?
that I want to be that person. So that made her really to work hard and be part of the Star Trek world
I
or
did not know
universe
that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was the one with useless knowledge, mate, but you're the one who's smashing out of the park today, mate. Well done. Well done. Crix, you've watched all these. Well, I don't know how many shows you've watched and how many variations of the shows you watch. Have you got one series that stands out for you, or one kind of different show that for you went that for me embodiment of Star Trek, whether it's a show or whether it was films? And the debt will come to the films after.
Yeah, I did watch the is it the Man Trap or some it's for the first season. Is it the Man Trap?
Mhm. That's the
The
first
the
episode.
first
Yeah.
episode, yeah, the first episode is really or actually captivated me because we're talking about women here, and the thought of well, the thought of Dr. McCoy looking at the woman at the same features that he thought 30 years ago, it was kind of difficult to discuss about age, about women, and then women, how women trap men or lure men towards their death. So when I did watch that, it somehow made me think about the significance of women in the show because they at the same part or at the later series they do have a women captain, right?
Catherine
So
Janeway.
yeah, that one. And I was thinking how Star Trek didn't left women out of the picture, and their casting is so difficult to, well, not just to explain, it's diverse, it's so different. And if you are going to think that this was made in the 60s, you're going to think that not a lot of women had this power over cast, over characters, over, well, overexposure. So that stands out for me. It gave me an impression that Star Trek is not just well, it's not just something of a sci-fi, but it touches women's rights as well. So thinking of Uhura looking at the man that she wanted, it captures the essence of a woman wanting something that she cannot have. So it's really deep for me. So that's good.
Wow,
So that's,
that's great.
yep.
That's correct. I not even thought about it like that. Bonner, this is why we say these sessions are really like therapy sessions for Cook. So she can come on and share her deepest and innermost thoughts, and I love that. I love that analogy that you've pulled
How
together
much
there.
are you charging them per hour?
I charge him in Jack Frost ice cream, mate. So I
Oh,
do all right.
okay.
I do
Oh,
all
good.
right. I do all right.
Yeah.
So, Jet, I think I've got two questions for you, mate. I'm going to test. Actually, I'll test your knowledge, right? So, which Keanu Reeves film has a acknowledgement towards Star Trek?
Johnny Mnemonic?
No. Bonner, do you know?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Keanu.
Ah, okay.
Clue.
So, no, a dude, right, dude. So it's Bill
I'm
and
gonna take
Ted's
a wild guess.
Go on.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
No, the follow-on, The Bogus Journey. You're close.
Oh,
Oh.
So
Host.
when they, yeah, very
bogus.
close. When they go to hell and then they do a challenge with death, don't they? Right? They do a challenge with death.
Yeah.
He takes them to a desert, right? And if you watch the start of the film, at the start of the film, they're watching a Star Trek episode, and it's the same place in the desert. There you go. It's one of
Nice.
those rock formations. See, I'm full of useless information.
That's
Jet.
that's in the Vulcan world. That
That's in the
episode.
Vulcan.
Yeah.
Man, what don't you know about Star Trek, dude? Scary. So, also, let's talk about Jet. One of the films, right? One of the films that really stretches the imagination of any self-provision geek, right? Which is the time travel one.
Oh, Voyage Home.
The Voyage Home, right? So apparently there's the way that they time travel, there's some scientific proof or reason behind why they kind of form those clouds, right? Is that right? Or am I talking rubbish?
No, that's right. In fact, the entire Star Trek series, episode, movies, every technology that's in there, every scientific endeavor that they're going through are based on facts, on science. The only technology that is not based on anything because they could not prove it is the transporter.
Now, Bonner, I have a fact about the transporter. So, and Jack, you may know this, but the lights that were used in the top of the set for the original transporter from the original series, right? So the lights at the top were used in the floor of the transporter that was created in the next generation. See?
Oh.
I see. I'm full of some stuff, mate. I'm full of some stuff. I think for me, the one that broke the mold, and it's up for discussion about whether or not it was a good series, was Deep Space Nine, right? And the reason that broke the mold was because rather than them flying out on a ship, right, they were based in deep space place there.
It's a station, yeah.
It's a station, right? It's a station. So, Bonner, did you watch that series at all? What did you think of Deep Space Nine?
I wasn't attracted to Deep Space Nine because I was expecting if you're gonna be having a Star Trek show, you're on a spaceship, you're trying to explore the far corners of Earth or of space. I mean, Deep Space Nine didn't do it for me. Maybe Voyager would have done it for me since they got lost in the Delta Quadrant, but. Other than that, no, I didn't like Deep Space Nine too much.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think Deep Space Nine was a bigger hit as it was expecting to be, right? And I also think that some, not all, but some of the acting could have been better in inverted commas,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
right,
I agree.
yeah,
Mhm.
particularly the
I
captain,
think the
right?
producers were already feeling that the ratings were going down, so they had to pull in some of these next generation actors in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, talking about next generation. I always felt sorry for Will. Ask me why.
Why? Why?
Because
Why?
whenever they were attacking the ship, Captain Picard would say, "Fire at will." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to get the one out there. That's one of my favorite old men, dad gags. All right, dad jokes. Jet, what else did you want to talk about from a Star Trek perspective, mate? Because there's a lot, right? There's a lot to discuss, but we're kind of coming towards the end now. We've got maybe 8 minutes left. What other things are of interest to you, mate, that you wanted to share?
It is the one. It is a unifying uh, show that addresses a lot of social issues that we're going through. In fact, we're still going through what the things that were being experienced in the 60s are still being experienced again now in our time of xenophobia and all. And there you could see, if you look at the cast and characters of all of the Star Trek series, films, that almost every race, ethnicity have been represented. Asian Africans, Caucasians, all those things. The Europeans and Americans. So, and there's a common theme that to go beyond where no one has gone before, which is it is what we aspire for. That we all move together and move forward. So that's one thing that is really keeping me hooked into Star Trek. Now, when it comes to the films, it is Voyage Home. It is directed by Leonard Nimoy, and the unique thing about Voyage Home is that it doesn't have a antagonist. We were talking about the Earth, the environment, and what are the things we're doing to our Earth and the extinction of animals. So again, it was relevant again to our times, and so there's always a message there. And the way that Voyage Home was done, there's some light moments, very comedic moments that were very different from the past movies that were done. So it's always moving forward. Star Trek has always been relevant, and I think it's still going to stay relevant until the next few generations.
I think that's wonderfully put, mate. I don't think anybody could have put it better than that. To be fair, I love your analogy and I love your wording. Spot on. I'm a big Star Trek fan. There's some films and there's some series such as Deep Space Nine that didn't necessarily tick all the boxes for me. I love the original. I'm particularly a fan of the Next Generation. I thought for me that really took a step up. And as a young lad in the UK growing up, I did have a little bit of a crush on Marissa Tomei, not Tomei, but you know she was super hot growing up. She was super hot, and I was very pleased they brought her back for the Picard season that they did for Amazon. And there's a second season of Picard coming out, right? And actually,
Yeah.
I thought Picard was excellent. I just don't think it got the recognition it deserved. To be fair, I thought it was a brilliant season and series, and I'm a big fan of Patrick Stewart in anything he does. To be honest with you, but I think one of his more iconic roles outside of the Marvel universe is certainly Jean-Luc Picard. I think he's the only actor playing a Frenchman that can get away without having to put a French accent on, right? Like Sean Connery.
Right.
Sean Connery, when you watch Sean Connery, particularly in The Hunt for Red October, right? He's meant to be Russian, but he's speaking English with a Scottish accent, right? So,
The accent's still there.
It's the same thing with those old Robin Hood movies where they, if you remember, one of those spoofs Robin
Men
Hood,
in
Men in
Tights.
Tights.
Men in
Yeah.
Tights.
I was thinking of Errol
As
Flynn.
I can talk with an English accent.
Exactly right. Exactly. But I think he's just that good an actor that it was like, look, he's not even going to try to do an accent, and then he just delivered it right. So fair play to him. Fair play to him. Crix, I will come to you in a minute, but we've got a question here. I don't know if it's a Bonner or a Jack question. Is the USS Enterprise named after the USS aircraft carrier Enterprise that served in World War II? I believe it is, but I don't know if that's the right answer.
All Federation ships are based on aircraft carriers. Their
Oh,
names.
Really?
Yes.
good to know.
Wow. That's amazing. And Crix, I'm not sure if this
Yeah.
is one of your friends here. Still here, the
It's
voice of
mom.
UG.
Hi,
It's
mom.
Mom. Hey, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Mom always tunes in. Always tunes in. Like, thanks for joining in, Mom. Great to hear from you. All right. So listen, we've got a couple of minutes left. Let's go around everybody here and let's all call out either a film or one of the seasons or series that we particularly enjoyed that we would watch forever and a day. I'll go first because I think mine's pretty easy. Out of them all, I'm a big fan of The Next Generation. That's the one that I would continue to watch over and over again. Crix, let's come to you next.
The first season, because that's the one that I've delved my hours to. Because first of all, you're gonna see how characters are introduced, and also if you're gonna watch a Star Wars or sorry, this a Star Trek series, you might as well go to the first one.
I agree.
So yeah, gotta go with the first one because you have to, or it's where Sheldon, or if we don't have the first season of Star Trek, we won't have a good episode of a Big Bang Theory where Nimoy wiped his face with a napkin and Sheldon went crazy. We won't get to know Nimoy that much, or we won't appreciate his acting. So there.
That particular Big Bang Theory scene was actually based on a real life incident in a Comic Con,
Oh wow.
wherein Q had the
Hmm.
flu and he was in Comic Con and he took a sip of the water that was
Hmm.
given to him, and one fan grabbed that water and drank it and said, "I have the Q
Yeah.
virus."
And Sheldon was like asking for a healthy ovum so that he can make little Nimoys. So
Crix,
that,
you're opening so many kind of that your ripple effect there. You're talking time travel, right? That's what you're talking there. You're talking kind of the multiverse and everything. But I get what you mean, right? I get what you mean. If we didn't have the start, or if we didn't have, basically the start of Star Trek, the original, then we wouldn't have the likes now. We wouldn't have, Spocky out. We wouldn't have
yeah,
all these.
we won't
Don't
have the
wear
memes.
we wouldn't have the means. We wouldn't have. Don't wear the red jumper if you're ever going on a trip because you're never coming back alive, right? So,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Did you also know that Sheldon, the actor that plays Sheldon, has never watched a single episode of Star Trek?
Oh.
Yes.
There you go. Bonner, I'll come to you next because I want to leave Jack for last. If you had to choose, mate, what would it be?
It's hard to choose. Well, I started with the Next Generation, but I also look forward to all these new shows. I'm currently watching Discovery. I love the third season. I'm looking forward to the fourth. I'm currently watching Lower Decks, believe it or not, since
Oh,
I do love how they're spoofing their own canon.
I've
And
not
I'm
I've not
looking
watched
forward
that.
also to the spin-off. If I don't know if I have the title right, Strange New Worlds. This is a spin-off from
Uh,
Discovery, the one where you have Pike and Spock,
yeah,
and I forgot the name of Rebecca Romijn's character, but she's supposed to be his number one.
love it. Bonner, your knowledge impresses me too, mate. I feel like I'm on the wrong show here. Right.
Actually, Bonner and I were talking a few weeks back about Star Trek, and you wouldn't believe what he's saying. And there's just so many things that I learned from him.
Oh well, go on, share something. Share that you've not shared. Go for it.
Well, I'm officially a nerd.
That's absolutely fine. Nerds, geeks, anybody, they're welcome here. This is our playground, right? That's one of the reasons that we started this show. To be honest with you,
Great.
yeah. Let's come to you, mate. So you are not just from a Star Trek perspective, but all the kind of the sci-fi world you live and breathe it. Which Star Trek series or film could you watch now until your dying day, over and over again?
For the series, I'm going to go with you, which is the Next Generation. For if you have, if you want something light, you go with the original series because the acting of William Shatner will just give you
It is.
the like if you need the comedic performance, the overacting thing, you can watch that. But definitely the Next Generation. And if you're going to go with films, I've mentioned this a while ago, you have to go with Voyage Home. There's a lot of relevance there. The during the hippie times, that how Spock was able to mingle with the Earthlings because he's a Vulcan, that he had to put something on top of his
On
head.
his
So,
head.
yeah, so to hide his ears and all those things.
I have to do that because mine stick out so much.
So those are the things, and read the books, because if you're into science, definitely you're going to be blown away by the technology, the scientific facts that are already in there. If you're into psychology or human behavior or those things, it's also intertwined with Star Trek, and the relevance on the society, on what we're going through, political strife and all those things on the parts of the world, famine, war, and all those. It's also there. It's going to make you think. It's going to expand your brain and think of a utopian society that you are hoping for.
Versus a
There.
dystopian one, right?
Yep.
Lovely.
So there.
Lovely. There's also a deep-rooted question, and we're not going to have a chance to discuss it now, in terms of when you compare the stars. So when you compare Star Trek and Star Wars, right? Which one is actually setting out the right type of, I guess, kind of living, if that's the right word, right? So when you look at Star Trek is all about working together, right? Regardless of which world or which race or which species you're on, it's all about working together. There's a similar story in Star Wars, but in Star Wars, there's always a controlling body, whether that's the Empire or the Jedi Knights.
Jedi
right?
Knights.
So there's those two are for me juxtaposition, and probably in a future episodes we should discuss the merits. And each one has merits, right? I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. There's merits in all of them, but I do like the fact that there is that opposition that we can probably explore in future episodes. Right. Before I come to Jet, you chose Star Trek Day, right? Which means Crix, you choose that way. Crix, you're choosing what we're going to discuss next week. Before I do that, I just want to say, Sabona, thank you so much for giving up your time. You really are a true honorary member of the Geekish Khan show. We would love to have you back. Live long and prosper. Anytime you're free at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday, please contact us and we'll happily have you on the show.
I'll do that.
Yeah, and Bonner, can you tell our audiences while they're watching Star Trek or whatever that what ice cream is best to go with it?
Yes.
That's like a pop quiz, With my current flavors right now, I'd probably go with the butter brew.
Nice.
That's just a favorite.
Yes, that's my favorite, butter brew. Yeah,
love it.
Jack
That's
Frost
for
ice
now. Until I hit something else that will make me think, hey, I think this one's better.
That's the beauty, right? It's everything's in a constant state of flux. Everything's changing. That's brilliant.
That's right.
Sabona, thank you so much. And anybody out there, if you're looking to try any ice creams, get on Jack Frost. It is fantastic ice cream, whether you're watching Star Trek, Star Wars, or just spending time with your family. Please, get in touch with Bonner and get some ordered. Right,
Thank you.
Chris, what are we discussing next week? And if
I
you
think
make it kind of serial killer again, we're going to have a problem.
no.
Right? We're going to have an issue.
No. Jet, do we have a guest next week though?
We
I
can have
think
Bonner again, right there, right there.
yeah,
No, we
someone
do. Yeah, we do. We
Let
have
me check my calendar.
We have
yeah.
Leonardo coming on from. He's a host of a different of a music podcast.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so should we go music next week?
Let's do music
Yeah.
next week.
Are we
Let's
gonna yeah.
go on.
I was
No, go on.
thinking I don't know. We already talked about underrated bands last time. How about we go ahead with the band that made us or artists that
Ooh.
made us? Yeah, because we have like our top 5 favorite band that got through us, or if I hear something from Beastie Boys, I quickly remember Jet.
So
So,
why don't we do this? Why don't we choose? There's always the second album syndrome, right? Why don't we
uh-huh.
choose the second album syndrome that was like, oh my god, really? I feel so let down after listening to the first album. I'm listening to the second.
Yeah.
I've got
Okay.
one straight away, and it's proper sad. You'll cry when I mention it next week.
Yeah, we can do that. Albums or bands? We can do
Albums or
albums.
bands? Albums or bands that we feel let down by. How about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. For example,
Yeah.
they had this first hit and then the second hit. Like, okay, we can do
Not
that.
really, but okay. See, sure.
No, go on, Jack.
Yeah,
What are you going to say?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
mean, yeah, it's either they're a one hit wonder or their albums. The first album was a huge success, but on the
Mhm.
second
And then
album,
the second one was shocking, no?
like yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
It
man,
was
I've
like,
got one that's gonna. Oh,
me
it's
too. Oh
making me
my
angry
god.
already. It's making me angry already.
Oh my god.
All right.
I really,
Okay.
yeah, do
Perfect.
that.
I'll set it up for next week. Bonner, if you're around, feel free to join. You don't need an invite. I'll make sure that Jet sends you the link, and if you're free, just join. So you can join at any time. Jet, thank you so much for your time, mate. You were the driving force behind today's live stream. I thought you chose a perfect topic, and I know everybody was wishing you a happy birthday on Friday. Let me take this opportunity to wish you a belated happy birthday. You look
Thank you.
great for 73. I hope we had a great day. Crix, as always, your insights are fantastic, even though sometimes a little bit scary. But look after yourself. Everybody out there, viewers, audience, thank you so much for the support. We've had a load of comments. Live long and prosper. Tune in next week where we'll be discussing bands that really let us down or albums that really let us down. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.